Hello, everybody. My name is Michael A. Tischer, and I've been a professor here at UMGC since 1999. And it has been the time of my life to have learners like you in my classes so we can talk about some interesting stuff pertaining to math, computer science, or statistics. And then hopefully, what we do is will be beneficial for you and fun for you as you get closer to your degree or certificate of completion goals. And I'm so happy to help you do that um, as we transform lives here at UMGC. Thank you so much for signing up for the classes. All right. And more specifically, I'd like to talk about Math 107. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So my name is actually German and it means table maker. And if you're not familiar with German, maybe somebody might say Tiskaher or Tischer or Tische, like the Germans would, but it's none of those things. And if you notice that in some of those, the way people pronounce it, um, you might think you have to pronounce a C, but you really don't. So the name is just going to be Tischer. It's like Fisher, except instead of F, it's a T. And maybe somebody is wondering if we don't pronounce the C, why is it in there? So somebody in my family a long time ago decided to drop the C, and there's the abbreviated version of my name. Again, just like Fisher, except instead of F, it's a T. All right, Math 107 is called College Algebra, and it's usually a course that you want to take before entering trigonometry or calculus. So it's part of that math sequence with algebra, trigonometry, and calculus. So the first thing that we'll do is do some elementary algebra review. Um, and if it's not a review for you, it's that's fine. It's wonderful. In the first week of class, we'll try to practice on some algebra stuff, and then in my class, I like to go in the classroom, and we not only talk about the concepts, but we also get a lot of practice, either individually or with a group, on these algebra problems. And I'll show you later on how we're going to do that. So we'll do that first, and then probably about the second week of class or the third week of class, we'll talk about functions. All right. And what is a function? Well, a function is like an association of two different things. So in this example, we have name and birthplace. All right. And usually in a function, we have one thing be associated with or go to another thing. So in this case, Tischer's birthplace is Farmington, Missouri. And so we say that Tischer goes to Farmington, Missouri. All right. Or in this case, person A goes to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That is, in this context, the the birthplace of person A is Cape Cod, Massachusetts. All right. So this is just an example of a function, but there's many examples like that. Okay. Now, what sets apart a function from other things in math is that it's true that a person can only be born in exactly one place. All right. So, for example, we cannot have person C, like notice here that person C was born in Chicago, but we cannot have person C. So, we cannot have person C also be born somewhere else, like Houston. So, in a function, one item on the left cannot go to more than one item on the right. All right. So we can only go to one thing on the right. That's what we have in a function. But notice that in a function, we can have two different things on the left go to the same thing on the right. So in this case, person B, and person C both have a birthplace of Chicago, Illinois. All right, so we'll talk about a lot of examples like that and practice on those in the classroom as well. All right. All right, and then we'll expound upon this by talking about functions and their graphs. All right, and one graphing program I like to use is called Desmos. So let me show you how that works. That's the Desmos graphing calculator. Right? We can enter in all kinds of graphs like y equals x squared, for example, which has the shape of a parabola. And one thing I liked about Desmos is we can see stuff in action, like if you put A there and add a slider, okay, once we change the number there, it changes the graph accordingly. Isn't that beautiful? It's so beautiful, isn't it? All right. And we'll talk about applications of all of these different graphs here as well. All right, and basically Math 107 is all about different kinds of functions, such as linear, quadratic functions. So what you just saw there, the parabola, that's an example of a quadratic function. And we also talk about polynomial and rational functions, exponential and logarithmic functions. All right. Okay, and so we'll talk about those and get practice on problems pertaining to those. Now, maybe wondering, how do I get a good grade in Math 107? Well, we have discussions, and we'll do discussions in class. Okay, now to access the discussions, um, you won't see these right now in our classroom before class, but we'll see these during our class. All right, and basically to have a discussion, we'll choose some problems and work them, and we'll get practice on this in class. All right. So one textbook is called the Corequisite Support eText, and before class, what you want to do is you want to sign up for something called My Math Lab. All right. Once you sign for My Math Lab, you go into My Math Lab like so. All right, and we saw the co-requisite e-textbook earlier, so we'll click on that, and then we'll open this up here. And it opens up right here for us. All right, so we'll go through this book right here and practice on some problems. Okay, and you want to choose some problems and turn those in. We'll try to get practice on those problems that you want to turn in as well. All right, so we'll do the discussions in class. All right. All right, now one new thing about the textbook is an AI study tool. So maybe you have some certain problems in mind that you want to turn in, and they can be involved. They can involve something called the square root. So maybe this can generate some problems pertaining to square roots. And let's see what it says. All right, so let's see. We can go to this one here, section, maybe this one. All right, and it generates some problems for us. All right, we can turn some problems in. So what's the square root of x squared? And so we'll learn that in our class. All right, now the rest of this is going to be in the My Math Lab that we just opened up. All right. So you have some quizzes, homework, and a final exam. Now, once you have My Math Lab set up, then it's possible that we can go in to the homework and the quizzes and do those anytime in order to get a good grade out of Math 107. All right. For the quizzes, you have two attempts on on a similar quiz. Okay. And the higher grade of the two attempts is recorded. For the MML homework, you have an unlimited amount of attempts to get a higher grade on any homework assignment, which is pretty cool. All right. And the final exam will be there in the final week of the course. And you also get two attempts on that as well. So, and again, the higher grade of the two attempts is recorded. All right. Okay. So I hope this gives you a good idea of what Math 107 is like. And I look forward to working with you soon in our class as we get some practice individually and also as a group on some exciting problems involving functions and algebra and things like that. So thank you so much for signing up for Math 107, and I look forward to working with you soon.